This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
So here's where we are today, Friday, July 11th. Here's where the line in the sand is. If you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal, if you're a anti-Trump, anti-ICE, anti-Trump person, now you're no longer just protecting hardworking immigrants who are just waking up early to work the fields, pick the strawberries, clean the hotel rooms, do the landscaping, bust the tables, the people that Democrats tell you are being targeted by ICE. No, we've moved beyond that. Now, if you are a Democrat, if you are a anti-Trumper, you are protecting marijuana farms that hire child slave labor. Children working on marijuana farms are now now the people you want to protect. That's where we are right now. That's what you have to do. If you are a Democrat now, ICE yesterday, in one of the most amazing confrontations you will ever see, raided a big marijuana farm called the Glass House Farm in the LA area. In that farm, working in that farm were a bunch of illegal aliens, including 10 children, 8 unaccompanied children, working a marijuana farm. ICE moved in. They made a run for it. There was a confrontation. The ICE guys used tear gas, and the protesters, I guess you'd call them protesters, fired a gun and attempted to kill ICE. So what happened after this story unfolded, after we saw the video, after we saw all the drone footage? Democrats, beginning with Governor Gavin Newsom, came out and attacked ICE. So a protester, I guess you would call him, I don't know, an attempted murderer, had a gun. It's clear on video. He's running from ICE and he's turning and firing the gun at ICE. You see children running from the scene. Those children were working on the marijuana farm. You would think that somebody in the Democrat, somebody in California, some elected official would say, oh, good, this is awful. They're using children. They're using kids, illegal alien children, to pick the marijuana at the marijuana farm. But no, once again, it's ICE they're attacking, literally firing rocks, screaming at ICE, and shooting a gun at ICE. And no outrage from Democrats. Just the opposite. Just the opposite. The governor of the state of California, who, by the way, was in North Carolina campaigning for president. He's making the swing. He started in South Carolina, moved to North Carolina. Soon he'll be in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, because Greasy Gavin is running for president while hell is breaking loose in his home state. But here's what Gavin Newsom is going to have to defend when he's on the campaign trail, when he's in the debates. He tweets out video. Do we have this video? Well, we have this. We'll get to the report, yeah. Smitty. Ironhead's not here today. We got Smitty. We'll get to that report, Smitty. But I want to read Gavin Newsom's tweet in reaction to this scene in LA where, again, they busted a marijuana farm. There's nothing but trouble at these marijuana farms. Whoever decided to make this legal and thought this would be a good idea? These are crime scenes. Here it is from Newsom. He writes, kids running from tear gas, crying on the phone because their mother was just taken from the fields. Trump calls me Newscum, but Trump is the real scum. So he's calling the president scum, because they busted this farm, which, by the way, wasn't in the fields. It was in a big greenhouse where the children he's talking about running, those children were being used for labor. So not only are they using kids, they're using illegal alien kids who are unaccompanied minors in his home state. And he's upset at the cops that busted this place. This is a remarkable moment. This is a test, in my mind, if there's a decent Democrat out there, and there aren't many, God knows, I'm waiting for Fetterman because he's the only Democrat with any common sense. There might be a couple other, maybe Ro Khanna, who's from California. Maybe there'll be one or two others, Dean Phillips. But for the most part, every single Democrat, every single elected Democrat in D.C., in California, will condemn the cops. They'll condemn law enforcement who just uncovered an operation that used illegal alien children. I'm not sure if you've seen this movie, City of Dreams. It came out last year, I think 2 years, a year and a half ago, 2 years. It's incredible. It is so graphic. It is so disturbing. I recommend it, but not if you don't like violence, because it is brutal. It's about a little kid, 10, 12-year-old kid from Mexico who comes to LA thinking he's going to go to soccer camp. They grab him, kidnap him, put him in a sweatshop. He has to make clothes in the sweatshop. If he screws up, they beat him. It's brutal. It's really disturbing. That's the story of what's going on in LA. Illegal alien children, 8 of them unaccompanied, put to work on a marijuana farm. You would think we could all get together on this one, at least on this one. I mean, I'm sure tomorrow they'll find some poor abuela or some kid with cancer or some pregnant woman getting deported and say, oh my God, it's like Nazi Germany. Are you going to call this Nazi Germany, Democrats? Is this the Gestapo? Tim Walz, Stevie Lynch, Ed Markey? Are you going to call this the Gestapo, the secret police, when they save children from slave labor in Los Angeles, a city that Trump is saving? That's what he's doing. That's what ICE is doing. They're saving you despite yourself, whether you like it or not. He's going to clean this place up. He's going to end the scourge of illegal alien slave labor. Those kids who are running, those kids are being saved. They're not being persecuted. They're not being victimized. They are being saved. Do we have this report from ABC? It's just a remarkable scene. We got it all, the drones. Here we go. This is the scene. This is from ABC in LA.
Take a look at this video right here. It appears a protester fired some kind of gun at federal agents. This happened this afternoon. It was a really chaotic scene at the time. A lot of smoke was being launched at the protesters. And again, it appears a protester fired back with that weapon. It looks like he fired at least a couple of times. We have not heard about any agents being hurt.
A protester, again, that's an attempted murderer. He's running away and turning and firing a handgun at ICE agents. And you literally have 0 Democrats condemning this. We've been saying this for days, for weeks now. Tom Homan's been saying it. Someone is going to die. I hope it's the guy running, firing the bullets. It might be an ICE agent. That's the 3rd time in a week we have seen ICE agents literally under fire. Guys who are doing God's work. We talk all the time about cops as heroes, firemen as heroes, and in many cases they are. As I've always said, they're not heroes because of who they are. They're heroes because of what they do and what these men are doing. I'm not saying they're heroes because they sign on the dotted line and join ICE, but if you're doing that, if you're saving children from slave labor, if you're busting this place that's exploiting children and other illegal aliens to farm your marijuana, if you're busting that place, you are a hero. And what are Democrats doing? They're firing guns at them. It happened twice in Texas. A cop took a bullet to the knee. Another cop took a bullet to the neck when 10 or 12 Antifa scum dressed in black tactical gear with helmets and AR-15s and vests, when those guys ambushed ICE in Texas. We were lucky. Nobody died. An ICE agent was injured. Again, in Texas, in McAllen, they fired guns at ICE agents. I think a local cop took one in the knee. Yesterday, this guy in LA firing this gun, didn't succeed. It didn't hit his target, but it's going to happen again. We have at least three and a half more years of this. We just got billions in funding for ICE and Border Patrol. They are hiring 10,000 new agents. As Tom Homan says, we are doubling and tripling down. They're not stopping. They're going like, who was asked why you robbed the banks? Jesse James, or what? Why do you rob banks? That's because of where the money is. ICE is going to the blue states, blue cities, because that's where the illegal aliens are. That's where they're exploiting child labor, slave labor. So they're going to go in and save these kids. And Democrats are going to fight them every step of the way. That is the line in the sand. That is the hill they're going to die on. Let's protect marijuana farms that hire children. The kids were probably working 12 hours a day for $2 an hour. And that's okay with the governor of the state. That's okay with the mayor of LA. That's okay with every single elected official in the state. This is madness where we are right now. And I'm pretty sure I know which side the public is on. We talk all the time about these 80-20 issues, which Democrats are on the wrong side of, like kids, boys and girls sports and sex change surgeries for kids or prisoners or illegal aliens. They're on the wrong side of every issue. This isn't an 80-20 issue. This is a 98-2 issue. Do you want illegal alien children to be used as slave labor? Oh, you don't? Well, then you should be applauding these heroes at ICE. Instead, they're taking bullets. You want to hear a remarkable? I was going to save this, but I got to get to this. This is how utterly corrupt the media is, the left-wing mainstream media is. That story in Texas, which we went over in detail a couple of days ago, where you had these 10 to 12 Antifa scum all dressed up in battle gear with their AR-15s. By the way, one is still on the run. One Antifa scumbag is still on the run. The other are all in custody. They're facing 10, 15 years in prison. They're in Texas. So they're going to do hard time. They were willing to throw their lives away to kill an ICE officer, an ICE agent who was there to arrest MS-13 guys, sex predators, murderers, rapists, drug dealers. And you have Americans. I mean, granted, they're deranged, they're losers, they have no lives, but they're willing to go to prison to stop law enforcement from arresting really bad guys. It's just bizarre where we are right now, or where the resistance is right now. Check this out. That story was huge. Obviously, it was a big deal. There was one more cop shot that day than there was on January 6th. He survived, thank God. But it seemed like kind of a big deal when you had this organized effort. Who's paying them? Who's funding them? How did they make this plan? What did they think was going to happen? They thought they were going to kill ICE agents and just run into the woods and get away. It's just crazy. I'll throw this at you, Smitty. Give me a guess. How much time did CNN and MSNBC, how much time did they spend on the ambush of ICE agents by these terrorists in Alvarado, Texas? Give it a guess.
I'll bet nothing.
The answer, of course, 0. They didn't. These are 24/7 cable news networks. They knew what happened. They saw it. They saw it on the wire, on social media. They saw it on Newsmax and Fox News. They ignored it completely. An ambush of federal agents by a group of Antifa radicals, and they didn't cover it. In this case, they're covering the LA story, and they're lying to you. One liberal media outlet after another, one social media account after another, telling you, oh, look at this. They're terrorizing children with tear gas. They're chasing hardworking immigrants through the fields. You won't hear this from Gavin Newsom. You will not hear this from Karen Bass. They're saving kids, and Democrats are pissed. I'm telling you, this is good. This is great. I love the effort they're putting in. They're stopping at nothing. They're going to continue until they get every freaking illegal alien criminal out of this country. But I have to say it again. I've been saying it for weeks. Holman's been saying it. Stephen Miller. Someone's going to die. I mean, they've already shot a couple of ICE agents. That in the last week, we've seen three times they've taken shots at ICE agents. At some point, they're going to get lucky. They're going to hit one in the head. They're going to hit one. They're going to kill one. And then what? And then what are Democrats going to say? Again, not one has condemned this. Not one. in the party, this is the party of violence now. This is the party that supported the riots in LA. This is the party that says nothing when a crazy terrorist in Boulder, Colorado, Muslim terrorist tries to set a bunch of elderly Jewish women on fire, killing one. You hear nothing from Democrats when they ambush ICE agents, hardworking, heroic ICE agents get ambushed. These guys are literally putting their lives on the line. I don't say that about, every cop every day. I mean, sometimes they're just out there, directing traffic. But these guys are literally going into this war zone. They know they'll throw rocks at them. They know they'll scream at them and slash their tires. Now they know they'll shoot them. That's how far they will go to protect illegal aliens. It is incredible that they are willing to go this far to protect illegal alien criminals. We told you about the guy in Omaha they got yesterday, wanted in El Salvador for 5 murders, an MS-13 kingpin. They found him hiding in Omaha, Nebraska. They're getting him out. He's going to CCOT. And Democrats are pissed. Oh man, this isn't America. This is the Gestapo. They're taking guys who murdered 5 people off the street, and Democrats aren't happy. In fact, you know what they're doing? They're raising money. Act Blue, the Democrat arm, the big Democrat fundraising arm, is raising money for anti-ICE protesters explicitly. If you donate to Act Blue, they're going to pay for guys like that in LA, the guy running and shooting. They're going to pay for those Kevlar vests and AR-15s that they used in Texas. That's how bad it's gotten. As Holman keeps pointing out, there was a 700% increase in assaults against ICE agents. And you know what Democrats say? Not enough. We got to get that to 800%, 900%. Truly a pivotal moment here in this country. Which side are you on? That's the question everyone has to. Which side are you on? Are you on the side of the child traffickers, the slave, the people using slave labor, not paying their taxes? I know Democrats really care about people who don't pay their fair share. You think Glass House Farms is paying their fair share when they have 160 grow houses in California for marijuana? I hope they raid them all. Then what? Then what's Gavin Newsom going to say? They're cleaning up his state. This is the best thing to happen to California since the gold rush. And these people are pissed. It is amazing. Which side are you on, Democrats? You pick a team. Pick a team. You want the people shooting at ICE who's trying to save children, or do you want to be on the side of ICE, be on the side of Holman and Miller and Trump and the side of good, trying to save these kids from this life of hell? And here's what I fear, Smitty. By Monday, when we're back here, someone's going to be dead. I hope it's a violent Antifa protester shooting it, but could be an ICE guy, could be a local cop, could be an innocent bystander. They have decided to take up arms against ICE.
Well, Hakeem Jeffries and the rest of the left, they accuse us of the hateful rhetoric,
right?
But we have some of their rhetoric.
We'll get to that. It is amazing. Truly, we have a montage, and we were told, rhetoric leads to violence. As we were told on January 6th, Trump was responsible. His words caused a riot on January 6th. What about the Democrats' rhetoric? I mean, they're not toning it down at all. They're still telling you these guys are the Gestapo. Even after they save these kids, they're the Gestapo. I remember that. Isn't that what the SS did? Isn't that what the Nazis did? They went into these places and they saved children. And they arrested, gangbanging murderers and sent them back to their home countries, just like the Gestapo. They have lost the plot like I've never seen before. And that's what gives me hope. I know ICE isn't going to stop. I know they just got a big, beautiful bill that's funding them for years to come. And Holman has promised they're not stopping. You can't deter them. Even shooting at them is not going to stop them. That is a good thing. But Democrats have nowhere to go. They have to continue to demonize them, lie about them, and attack them and shoot at them. And I hope they fail. And I hope we hope the whoever dies, I hope it's not an ice agent, because these guys are doing God's work. They are literally saving children. Here's the aforementioned montage. You want to talk about hateful rhetoric? If you're a Democrat, if you're anti-Trump, anti-ICE, you're on the side of these guys, these a-holes who are just slandering, who are just defaming hardworking law enforcement agents. Go ahead.
For some of the worst horrors and crimes against humanity.
Masked agents of the state in unmarked vehicles are terrorizing communities. They are disappearing people.
One has to assume they're hiding something or they're hiding misbehavior, because otherwise, why would they be wearing masks and denying their identities?
If everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face?
Not look like America. We are going to require them to show their faces. If you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't have anything to hide.
You know, I just read about this. You know what they're doing in LA? I don't know if they're doing it across the country. They are following ICE agents everywhere. They have these activists, agitators who are at their hotels, and they know their cars, they know who they are, they see them. They follow them everywhere, and they get on the phone and they get online and they start that's why there were so many protesters at this remote marijuana farm, because they follow ICE everywhere. They call out the shock troops. They show up to protest, throw rocks, shoot guns. These guys, they can't get a moment's peace, these ICE agents. And maybe they know that they're doing the right thing, they're doing good, and maybe they're inspired to get out there and save children. But their lives are literally in danger. They busted a bunch of them for setting up spikes in the road to get so the ICE guys would have blowouts. They pelted their cars, smashed the windows with rocks. When they left this marijuana farm, they busted, I don't have the latest number, but they took away at least dozens of illegal aliens, soon to be deported, children who were saved. And as they're leaving, they're smashing the windows out of their cars, their vans. It is brutal. These guys wake up every day and know they have to go through this. Again, these are heroes. These are people we should be honoring. They're covering their faces because of scumbags like Dan Goldman and Ilhan Omar, who want them dead. They want them hurt. They want their families dead. Why else would you want to identify them? Why? Yeah, I mean, they're hiding their faces because your people, your side wants them dead. That's obvious. So why would you want them named? Why would you want them doxxed? Because you want them dead. That's where you are right now if you're a Democrat. Your side wants federal agents dead in this all-out effort to protect MS-13, gangbangers, rapists, predators, people who hire child labor. It's just insane. All right, we got so much to get to on this Friday, July 11th. We got to get to the latest on the Epstein scandal. Again, bad news for Trump and Bondi and Patel. It ain't going away. We got Alan Dershowitz explaining exactly what he knows. Well, not exactly what he knows, but he knows a lot. He does. I mean, hell, he was a friend of Epstein. He was a visitor to Epstein. I don't know about the island, but he was at the Palm Beach mansion where he got a massage, but he said he kept his underwear on and it was all above board. His wife was there. I'm not sure I believe that, but he knows. And at some point, Alan Dershowitz is 85 years old. At some point, he has to say, the hell with all the, the gag orders and everything. I'll tell you the names. I'll give you the list. Why not, Alan? You love attention. You love, the media. Why don't you come out and tell us who's there? And one of the great things that's happened in the last 6 months, a year, is the whole climate change thing is just falling apart. And it's wonderful to see. There are still people out there telling you, those floods, those floods, it's climate change, but no one's listening. We got that too. We'll get to that. We'll get to much more on this Friday. But first,
Excuse me.
you know, nothing wakes you up like losing a loved one. I know, I've been there a little too often recently. You think, what about me? You do a lot of soul searching and you wonder, will my family be prepared financially if something were to happen to me? The last thing you want is your family to worry about how they're going to pay the bills. With life insurance from Ethos, your family is protected. I know it's not a pleasant thought, but you know what's worse? Wondering, will my family be able to stay in the house? Will my kids be able to go to college? Will my wife be able to pay the bills? Life insurance from Ethos gives you peace of mind. I know it did for me. It's one big bucket list thing you get to cross off. I know traditional life insurance can be complicated, but Ethos isn't. Ethos makes it easy. So protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Newsmax. That's ethos.com/Newsmax. Ironhead is not here. Smitty is sitting in. Thanks, Smitty. You enjoying yourself so far?
I am.
Yeah, you look at Ironhead's on a cruise. Only Ironhead will go on a cruise in July. Who goes on cruises in July? It's probably one of those, Carnival cruises where there's a lot of fatties and a lot of eating and a lot of drinking. He'll have a good time. But and maybe is it cheaper? A cruise is cheap in July? I hope they are. But you know what? If it's all you can eat, all you can drink, he will get his money's worth. I know that. But it's good to have you here, Smitty. We got to get to the. I'm as I've said yesterday. I said yesterday. I've said all week. I'm never letting this go. I'm not letting this go ever. Again, it was the lowest moment of Trump's presidency when he came out with a strategic plan. It was obviously a setup. When they asked Pam Bondi about Epstein, he jumped in and said, "I can't believe you're asking about that. That's unbelievable." That wasn't real. As someone pointed out to me on Twitter, they said, the great thing about Trump is he's just so authentic and he's just so transparent. He just speaks his mind. That was the least authentic moment of Trump's time in office, of his 4.5 years in office. That moment was plain. He knows there's nothing unreasonable about asking about Epstein. He wants us to move on, so he's pretending, acting as if it's old news or irrelevant. It's not. We're not done. We're never going to be done. Again, Pam Bondi said there were 254 victims. That's her number, not mine. That's what she told Mark Levin. She said it was sick. It was disgusting. Alina Harbour said it was disturbing. It was shocking. And then we were told we're moving on. No arrests, no names, no list, no evidence, no video, no nothing. We're moving on. No, we're not. And maybe we'll get no more. Maybe the forces are so powerful that we will never, ever find out the truth, but that doesn't mean we have to drop it and just move on. So yesterday, Dershowitz went on with Sean Spicer, and he, I'll give him credit. I mean, I have questions about exactly what Dershowitz was doing, hanging out with Epstein. Epstein had an office at Harvard. He gave them so much money. They gave him his own office after his initial conviction for pedophilia or sexual abuse of a child or whatever it was in Florida, where he did 16 months of easy time. After that, he still had an office at Harvard, once again proving my point that only the worst people in the world go to Harvard. Any office down the hall from Dershowitz. Anyway, Dershowitz was a buddy. They hung out. They went to the mansion. He got a massage, but he left his underwear on. And the woman who accused him of child, she was a child, but when she accused him, she retracted. I don't know if there was a deal made, whatever. So he has not really been implicated. But he knows where the bodies are buried. He knows who was there, and he's not holding back. He didn't get the memo from the Trump administration that we're moving on. Here is Dershowitz yesterday just pouring more fuel on the fire, and I loved it. Go ahead.
Let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed, and they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them, but I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know.
Well, you could if you really wanted to, but that we all believe that. We all believe that. He knows power. Here's, to me, the big story is there's only a couple of possibilities here. One, the most likely is there are forces so powerful that they pressured Trump. They explained to him what it would mean if they released the names, if they released all the documents, the evidence, that as Tim Burchett, Congressman, said, it would affect global markets. That's how powerful people. So you had absolutely committed MAGA guys, patriots like Patel and Bongino and Bondi, who were promising all the evidence, and we're not going to see it. So there's someone out there, or some people out there, so powerful that they deterred, that they stopped Trump, Bongino, Patel from releasing the evidence. That's a little scary. That, to me, is the most likely thing. Obviously, if the Biden administration destroyed all the evidence, which was the theory of, I forget who it was, Bill O'Reilly or maybe it was Burchett. Yeah, Burchett said they destroyed all the evidence. That's scary too. But if that were the case, Bondi and Trump and Patel would say that, wouldn't they? We'd say we thought we had a case, but they destroyed all the evidence. Biden or somebody on Biden's team destroyed the evidence. They didn't say that. So I believe the previous, the former theory that someone out there or some people out there are so powerful that they stopped Trump, Bondi, Patel from pursuing the truth and exposing the truth. That, to me, is a huge story. And you know what?
I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them, and that's wrong.
Alan, off the record, Alan, tell us who they are. Off the record. Drop a dime. You're on Newsmax all the time. Tell our friend Rob Fenner, give him a call. Tell Greg Kelly. Tell him the names. Well, we know one name. Hell, we know a few names. Bill Gates. Bill Gates' marriage broke up over this, right? We know Prince Andrew. This is a undercover tape from OMG, from James O'Keefe, with I want to get his name, a guy who worked for Prince Andrew, worked for him. And he tells, John Bryant is his name, advisor to Prince Andrew. And OMG, James O'Keefe goes undercover, or one of James O'Keefe's people. I'm not sure if it was a guy or a girl. I don't know which side John Bryant plays for. But these tapes are so great because it's just some horny dupe who sits there, thinks he has a Tinder date and everything's going great. and he proceeds to ruin his own life. It's wonderful. But John Bryant, on secret audio tape, video as well, explaining that Prince Andrew slept with young girls. Let's play this.
I was really pissed because he lied about Epstein. And then I did a big thing in the Daily Mail saying that I believed Andrew. And then I found out he was lying. I was so pissed.
It's not great audio, but he says, does he say he was effing young girls?
That's what he said.
That's what he said. So Prince Andrew, in the royal family, and I know they took away his crown or his scepter or didn't allow him to ride around in the royal chariot or whatever the hell they did. Why is he not in jail? He was, according to his own advisor, effing young girls on Epstein Island. And he goes free. It's just, again, Prince Charles won't give him, whatever, some royal blessing, and he doesn't get to ride the royal horses or whatever the hell they did to him. But he doesn't go to jail. Bro, he doesn't lose a nickel. When did that become okay? And Dershowitz himself knows who did this, knows who went to the island, knows who abused children, and we're supposed to move on. I can't believe Trump or Trump's team or whoever, Susie Wiles or whoever advising him, thought this was a good idea. I thought you could just say, we're moving on. And again, some people did. Some MAGA people did. We talked about it yesterday. Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro said, nobody cares. Really? I think people care. I think they've cared for 10, 15 years. And we've been waiting for the moment that people would be brought to justice. Not one person, not Ghislaine, not two people, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine. hundreds of people. We thought there would be justice. And apparently there's not going to be, even though a member of the royal family was effing young girls. And Dershowitz himself says they are suppressing the evidence, the stories, the names to protect the powerful. That's what Satan does. He protects the powerful. This is satanic, what we're seeing in this case. And I don't think people are going to forget. I mean, God knows when I tweet about it, everybody, almost everyone is pissed. Occasionally there's a hardcore MAGA person saying, come on, Trump's getting things done. We gotta whatever, end the war and get the illegals out. Sure, we can, but you have a Department of Justice for things like this. And we were promised, and we give Trump credit all the time for promises kept. Well, this is not a promise kept. And we might just carve out a segment every day to give you the latest on this cover-up, because that's what it is, cover-up. Maybe we'll get Dershowitz. He used to hate me. I used to hate him. But he's a Trump supporter, huge Trump supporter. He lies, says he didn't vote for him. Yes, he did. He's been banished. They kicked him off the nude beach on Martha's Vineyard. He doesn't get invited to any parties because he supported Trump, defended Trump. He put a book out, The Case for Trump or something. So he is a Trump guy, and he's not taking Trump's order to move on, to drop it, which is good. Nobody should. It's discouraging. All right, we're going to go, that's bad Trump. I mean, again, I've loved these first 6 months. I believe he's kept most of his promises. I believe he's doing wonderful things with the border and with the immigration and trying to end wars, and the tariffs are working out. But this was a massive misstep. I tell you what wasn't a massive misstep, which I think was a wonderful thing. And you know what? I voted for this. This might be the most significant thing the Trump administration has done when you think of the big picture. They ended, in my mind, the whole climate scam. They exposed the whole climate scam. We're going over the numbers. Lee Zeldin, who's been a superstar, the guy has been spectacular. Again, I love most of the cabinet picks. I love Marco. He's been great. And JD and Hegseth and Lee Zeldin. Don't sleep on Lee Zeldin. His agency, the EPA, might be the most corrupt of all. And he's done one thing, and it's simple. He has shown that all the money we've shoveled to climate initiatives has been stolen. It's just a massive grift, a massive scam. They know, we know, everyone knows they're not changing the climate. They're not. And he exposed Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams, in my mind, is a criminal. Stacey Abrams should be on that short list. I'm looking forward to seeing John Brennan, James Comey get arrested, prosecuted. They should be. John Brennan is a uniquely evil man who belongs in prison. And it's amazing he was ever that close to the levers of power, that he's running the CIA, that he was in position to undermine the sitting president. That should all be exposed. He should be in prison. But what about the money, the billions that was laundered through the EPA to well-connected Democrats? Can someone explain to me how the $2 billion that went to Stacey Abrams changed the climate? Could someone show? I mean, maybe one of these brilliant climate activists, Ed Markey, AOC, Greta, Bill Nye, maybe one of them can explain how the billions that went to Stacey Abrams affected the weather. It didn't. She was supposed to buy sustainable green appliances for poor people. She didn't do that. She stole it. So I love the fact that Zeldin is exposing this, but doesn't someone have to be held accountable? I mean, you're talking billions that were stolen, billions. I think we need arrests. Again, I love Zeldin. He doesn't hold back. He just says, this is not good use of the taxpayers' money. So he's the bottom line is everything labeled climate initiative, climate change, green, whatever. It's all a scam. None of it's changing the weather. It's all being stolen. And that's one of the great things the Trump administration has done. If He'd lost. If Kamala had won, they'd still be stealing from us, still with these made-up climate scams. Anyway, it all ended, and here's the best part. The public isn't buying it anymore. The public is done. It's kind of like the trans thing. 5 years ago, you couldn't call Rachel Levine a man or Dylan Mulvaney a man. You'd get banned, you get ostracized. You could lose your job if you said it's crazy to try and transition a 4-year-old. You could lose your job, which is what I did. But that's over. We're done. You can mock these fools. You can say it's insane that what they're doing to children, mutilating children, drugging children. It's okay now. Common sense has prevailed. That's a great victory for Trump and just the whole Trump approach, a common sense approach. This is also a huge victory. We're not indulging these fools, these scam artists anymore. Bill Nye went on CNN. Again, CNN didn't spend a minute covering the ambush of ICE agents in Texas, the attempted murder of ICE agents. But they gave, 3-4 minutes to this clown, this bow-tied buffoon, this child TV actor to talk about the floods in Texas. And I don't know why this still bothers me. Most people just laugh at this clown, mock him. It still bothers me that you have approaching 200 dead, dozens of children dead. And a couple of days later, this fool, this clown, goes on TV and says, oh, that's our fault. We did that because, we drive cars. Or we heat our homes, so it's our fault that those kids are dead. It's just bizarre. It's insane. It's stupid. But here he is, Bill Nye on CNN.
You can't just float your way out of it.
Yeah.
It knocks everything over. Everybody knows you pick up a bucket of water, you know how heavy it is. Mm-hmm. And you get a lot of water going that fast. So what are we going to do about it is the ancient question, and it would be to stop burning fossil fuels. When you're in a hole, stop digging.
It's insulting. I mean, again, anyone get a take on the floods from Captain Kangaroo or Pee Wee Herman or the Teletubbies? I mean, if we're having silly characters from TV, from children's TV shows, why not get them all? Why not find out what Woody from Toy Story thinks? If we're going to find out what this clown, who's not even a, meteorologist. So he thinks if we just stop burning fossil fuels, and I assume, he took a skateboard to the studio, right? And I assume he made all his own clothes and doesn't have a cell phone because that would be fossil fuels. But he thinks if we just stop driving our cars, there'd be no flooding in Texas. It's just insulting. It's insensitive. They haven't even found all the bodies. You got a fool like this saying, oh yeah, it's because we drive cars. So people are dead, drowned in the flood. I mean, and CNN takes him seriously. Again, he's an actor. He's a clown. He's a cartoon character. And we're talking to him about this devastating tragedy. Again, didn't talk about the ambush in Texas. No, can't do that. But we can talk about, good news is, no one's buying it. On that very same network, the great Harry Enton, who's the best, actually Scott Jennings is the biggest star at CNN, but Harry Enton, don't sleep on Harry. He's pretty good. And he brings out the empirical evidence and shows that nobody's listening anymore. Nobody's buying into this climate nonsense. Nobody thinks we're having a flood because we drive cars. We never had floods before we had, the combustion engine. No, this is a new thing, this extreme weather. But good news is they keep selling it, but no one's buying. Here's Harry.
Are Americans afraid of climate change? And the answer is Americans aren't afraid of climate change. Climate activists have not successfully made the case to the American people. I want you to take a look here. Greatly worried about climate change. We have data going all the way back since 1989. Look at that. It was 35%. 2000, 40%. 2020, 46%. And 2025, 40%, which is the exact same percentage as back in 2000. Despite all of these horrible weather events, the percentage of Americans who are greatly worried about climate change has stayed pretty gosh darn consistent, which kind of boggles the mind a little bit. Granted, everything that we see on our television screens, our computer screens, the hurricanes, tornadoes, the flooding, but yet greatly worried about climate change, 40% in 2025, the exact same percentage as back in 2000.
Oh, it doesn't boggle the mind, Harry. No, we had hurricanes, we had floods before you guys came up with this climate change nonsense, and it's so good to see. I think that's a tribute to social media, because they have been selling this on all the mainstream media outlets. God knows, the New York Times, Washington Post, every day, climate change, extreme weather, and the number of people who are concerned about it has dropped. They have failed. They have failed in their effort to sell you the snake oil, and it's a good thing. I mean, no normal person thinks, oh, there was a flood in Texas. It must be climate change. So it's good. People are waking up, and their grift is just not working. All right, we got to get to how much time we got, Smitty?
We have, right now, we've been broadcasting for 46 minutes, Gerry.
All right, I want to get to this. This is Newsbusters, which is a great service. They just track the liberal media and expose them, and they always bring the receipts, they bring the numbers, but this is hilarious. And this is like a gift to Newsmax and to Fox News and other outlets. The late night comics, quote unquote, that very diverse group of white, male, liberal, angry, elitist assholes, that group, who all, do the same thing, saying the same thing on different channels every night, and nobody watches. But it is amazing. They're doubling down since Trump took office again. No one hates Trump more than Jimmy Kimmel, except maybe Steve Colbert or Seth Meyers. They just hate him, and they do the same thing every night, and they get no ratings. But check this out from from Newsbusters. It says, for the men of late night comedy, the first half of 2025 was an instance of history repeating itself. According to Newsbusters, 99% of their political guests were on the left, matching the results from the last 6 months of 2024. So for the last full year, 99% of their guests have been liberal. Check this out. For the first 6 months of this year, they had 106 liberals compared to one conservative. 106 liberals, one conservatives. When it came to actual politicians, they had 30 Democrats, 0 Republicans. Colbert led the way with 14. The Daily Show came in second with 10. Kimmel was third with 4. They went on, all the guests: Cory Booker, Tammy Duckworth, Jasmine Crockett appeared twice. When it came to journalists and celebrities, the count was 76 liberals, 1 conservative. I was trying to guess who the conservative was. Orrin Cass, I don't know much about him, from American Compass, appeared on The Daily Show to discuss tariffs. That's it. Orrin Cass and 106 liberals. It is amazing. Their ratings stink. They're getting trounced by Greg Gutfeld and others, and they just keep doubling down. They just keep having the same people on saying the same thing, just hating Trump. It's just not working, and they don't care. They're so blinded with Trump rage. And I would guess in the case of Kimmel and Colbert, the most disappointing day would be 1 year ago Sunday. 1 year ago Sunday, Saturday. Yeah, well, no, 1 year ago Sunday was a Saturday last year, July 13, 2024, a day where you remember where you were. I will never forget it. I was sitting right here in my house watching. We were going out that night. My wife was getting ready. I was already ready. Might have been having a beer. It was 6:30 on a Saturday in July, great festive time, getting ready to go out. I'm watching Newsmax. Actually, they had the little banner saying, listen to the Gerry Callahan show. That was how we got our best publicity. They put the banner across whenever Trump did a rally. And I'm sitting there watching, and I start screaming to my wife. I'm going, they shot him. And she comes running out, what? They shot Trump. And here's what I'll never forget. I mean, no one will ever forget. He went down, right? He got hit and went down. And I don't know how long it was. I should know this. It felt like 10 minutes. It was probably, 20 seconds. But when he went down, they jumped on him. Might have been 30 or 40 seconds. We didn't know for that 20, 30, 40 seconds if we'd get up. We had no idea. In fact, he got shot in the head. So I'm thinking, he's dead. I was literally saying that. They shot him in the head. So the odds of him getting up from that, I was thinking, hopefully they get him out to the hospital and they have surgery and they'll go through that whole thing. Maybe it's in the neck and, maybe he's paralyzed, maybe he's dead, who knows? But that 20, 30, 40 seconds was the most frightening time in my life as a political observer or observer of the news. I'm just sitting there going, is he going to get up? Is he going to get up? Did I just witness live the murder, the assassination of the president? It was that big a deal. And the most amazing thing is he got up. They kind of shuffled him out. Took him like 20 minutes to get him out of there for some reason. And while that was going on, you're saying, is there another shooter? Is the guy alive? Is he going to shoot more? He already killed Corey Compatore. He shot injured two other people. So I'm thinking he's going to start shooting again, or someone else is going to start shooting. And some of these people in the crowd are going to go down. A Secret Service agent is going to go down. It didn't happen, thank God. Unfortunately, Corey Compatore lost his life. But as you're watching this, you're saying, this is going to change history. Yeah. Instead, it was 2 days, 3-day news cycle. Secret Service took out Thomas Crooks, the 20-year-old loser, and we were supposed to be done with that, move on. This story, if it was 1 inch to the left, is the biggest story of all our lifetimes. And the conspiracy theories would be raging today. He lived, that's great, but the conspiracy theories should still be raging because we've got so few answers. They suspended 6 Secret Service agents this week, fired nobody. They left that roof open. The Secret Service head that Kimberly Cheadle lied to the world, said it was because it was a sloped roof. That was a lie. So we got her on record lying about why that roof was left unguarded. It's a huge story. And somehow, like Greg Kelly covers it on Newsmax. Just occasionally you see it on Fox News. But for the most part, and a book just came out called Butler by Selena Zito, who was there with him. And that's good. But are we ever going to find out? I mean, one question I'd love an answer to. Thomas Crooks had encrypted messages on his phone with foreign people. Are we ever going to find out what those were? I mean, can't the frickin' federal government, the CIA, tell us what was on his phone? I mean, we know nothing about him. 20-year-old kid who worked at a nursing home was able to get to that spot and take that shot and come that close. And as Kelly always points out, the Secret Service had more people guarding Jill Biden, who was indoors at some Italian event that nobody went to and nobody cared. And who would ever take a shot at her anyway? We don't know enough. We don't know nearly enough. It's a massive story, a scandal. Again, Secret Service suspended people, gave them a vacation. Nobody got fired. They left that spot open. They didn't get Trump off the stage when they knew there was a shooter. They didn't hurry him off the stage, which is just amazing. If you knew there was somebody there, even if you'd delay things, wouldn't you delay it 20 minutes, half hour? Wouldn't you maybe tell him, Donald, have another Diet Coke, wait a few minutes? But no, they let him go on stage. And it wasn't until people started screaming, there's a shooter, there's a guy with a gun, that they did anything about it. There were so many failures. It's hard to believe that nobody was fired. Cheadle was forced to resign because she's an incompetent political hack and a friend of the Cheneys, a friend of the Bidens, who had no business running the Secret Service. But somebody should have been fired. It is, again, a scandal that we'll be talking about for years because we just don't know enough at this point. Where were you, Smitty, when it happened?
I was watching TV like everybody else. I was enjoying the speech. And finally, what was interesting was on CNN, the only network to carry it.
That's a conspiracy theory I'm not buying into, and I'll tell you why. Because there were rumors he was going to name his VP. And, you know, I know the theory that CNN somehow knew it was going to happen. So this is the first speech they carried live. But there were rumors that he was going to name Vance or somebody else that night. So that's their excuse. And I think I'm buying it. I don't think CNN knew it was going to be an assassination attempt. I don't know about anybody else, but it just seems impossible to believe a 20-year-old loser could do that, could get in that position, could get that clear shot, could that come that close to changing history. And by the way, Democrats, media, they could barely contain their disappointment, and which makes you think it's going to happen again. Hopefully, again, it's unsuccessful. It happened a couple months later, a couple of weeks, 6 weeks later, and hopefully, and it'll happen again. Hopefully, they'll be unsuccessful, but it feels like the Democrats, the resistance, the angry Antifa crowd are going to stop at nothing. They want blood. As they said, as they told Axios, they want blood. So we will be waiting, and hopefully it's not the good guys who take a bullet. That's all I could say. But that'll do it for today and for this week. How'd you do, Smitty? Did you have fun?
I did have fun. I was just hoping that you were happy with the way things ran today.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, my friend. That will do it. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we will do it again Monday morning.
Are Americans afraid of climate change? And the answer is Americans aren't afraid of climate change.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.